If you want to go on a road trip with some friends or family and just travel and see new places and just have an adventure, but you feel like you don't have the money for it, well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to plan a road trip adventure on a budget. The truth about motivation is that you're not going to always feel motivated. Keep it up. You can do it. This is real life. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm very excited for this video today because I love talking about traveling and giving tips on it. So this is gonna be a really fun video for me and for you. I'm gonna be taking you step by step on how to plan a road trip. And now this could be for spring break, which is coming up, or this is just gonna be for a road trip in general. I'm kind of giving examples on the trip that I'm planning for spring break. So let's get started. Traveling is so important. It's a way to just give your mind a break and kind of a way to refresh as well. Because when you are just stuck in that 9 to 5 or just in the daily routines, you get stuck and you may lose inspiration and motivation because you're only worrying about and focusing on what's between your four walls. It's not good for a creator, or if it's not good for any person at all. But everyone deserves to have some kind of creativity, and everyone should be always inspired and motivated to continue to do what they love. But it's really hard to do that if you're not seeing anything outside of your four walls. You're not going out there and you're not experiencing the world and what's around you. There is going to be a part 2 to this video because I just have so much information that I don't want to rush through it and miss something that's really important. So there will be 3 tips or 3 steps in this video, and in part 2 there will be the other 3. So make sure to watch the second part of this video after this one. So let me start off by saying why I enjoy road tripping. So I've always gone on road trips with my family ever since I was little. We went on this really big road trip across the country, and I've gained a lot of experience and knowledge with that and with what my parents have taught me. And also the mini road trips that I have also done as an adult. For myself, it's way better to experience new places on the road because you have a lot more freedom to stop whenever and wherever you want, and you just have a lot more mobility that way. The first thing that you should do is choose a destination. Do you want to visit a city or do you want to visit a whole state? And are you going to go to 1 or 2 or 3 places? Now, this depends on a lot of things, because if you're going to go to a city like New York, but you also want to see Washington, D.C., those 2 cities have so many things to do in them. And it's just not wise to try to cram those 2 cities in one trip because there's just so many things to do in each place that you're not going to have time to see it all, or you're just going to have to rush through it to see it all. And for me, that's not enjoyable. Now, let me give you another example. You may want to visit a small town or just do a little quick trip before you get to your actual destination, and that's fine too. But having 2 big places like New York or DC, places like that in one trip, it's not going to be enjoyable. So just think about it that way. So choose your destination and think about whether it'll be wise to just do 1 or 2 places. So for example, our destination for spring break is Texas. But since we're going to be driving there, New Orleans, Louisiana is on the way to Texas. And we've always wanted to go to that city. So what we're going to do is we're going to just stop at New Orleans and do 2 nights there. And then after that, continue the rest of the week in Texas and then come back. But since New Orleans is very small and really everything that we would want to see is right there, and it's more just like scenery and just walking around, and we've already looked away and it's not like that much that we want to see, we've just decided that it'll be okay to stop before we go to Texas. So you may have to think about a lot of factors when it comes to choosing your destination. But simply put, just make sure that if you do want to stop at a place before another one, or you want to do 2 places instead of just one, make sure that they're both not places that you're going to want to do a lot of things at, because it's going to be too overwhelming. But also make sure that if you're just choosing one destination, that you're not losing an opportunity to stop at another place before or after that place as well. It just depends on where you go and how you want to spend your time. Another thing that I want to mention about destinations is that you want to make sure that you're not choosing a destination that you're not going to be able to afford. So, for example, I live in Florida, and let's say I'm thinking about making a road trip to California. That is like on the other side of the country. That would be a very expensive road trip. If you're on a budget, you want to make sure that you're starting small. And don't feel frustrated. If you're working on your goals and you're working towards your dreams, you're going to be able to travel the world one day. But if you're not able to do that just yet, start small, start minimal, and just go city to city and stay within your area maybe, or just don't go that far, because road trips can be very affordable, but it just depends on the distance and where you're going, what type of place. So once you've done all that, the second thing that you want to do is budget. You create a budget for your trip, and then you take that budget and you divide it into categories like food, gas, transportation, activities, purchases, toll money. All those things you're gonna have to take into account. Budgeting is crucial. You don't want to feel like you can't enjoy yourself during your trip because you're so tight on money, or you've lost count of what you can spend and how much you have. You want to make a budget. You're gonna have a lot more discipline if you budget first. So I take that $2,000 that I budgeted for my trip, and I'll divide it into each category that I mentioned. And that's gonna help you plan, and it's gonna help you decide what to do, what things to do, where to go, and how to travel. Basically what I've done is I've just written it all down. So make sure that you're writing it all down, or you have it on an app so that you can see what you should be spending on each thing, and to make sure that you're actually staying on a budget. Once you have that budget, make sure that you're putting money aside for that trip all the way until the day of the trip. So you can put it in a savings account, and you can just add to it and add to it and add to it. Since you've already budgeted for that trip, you should have that money aside to save. So put that money aside, and seeing how much you have is really gonna help you stay stress-free, because you know you're gonna have enough to enjoy your trip. And after that, you have to stay disciplined. I have my budget and everything written down, but it has a lot of information that I don't want to put out here, because it has the itinerary, the dates, the addresses, and all that information, so I don't want to put that out there. But basically, I write everything down, and I also write everything down here in my budget book. Writing everything down helps, guys, a lot. I know I look like a mess. Okay, let's go back to the version of the pretty me. Let's go back to the video. Number 3, choose your mode of travel. So you may think that road trip just involves a car and that's it. Some people take a plane to their destination and then rent a car there and then do a road trip from there. And then there's people that take a car from point A to point B. I'm gonna tell you now the difference between each and the pros and cons. If you decide you wanna go to a city, but you wanna go in plane first and then rent a car at the airport, there are some cons to that. Number 1, you may lose an opportunity to stop at a place before you go to your destination. So you may lose an opportunity to see things on your way there. The other con is that when you go to purchase plane tickets, you may see that it's very inexpensive, round trip. But you have to take into account that you're gonna be paying for the plane ticket as well as the car rental at the airport. And the problem with that is that, well, that's 2 big purchases already, instead of it just being one, like a car rental. And car rentals at the airport are very, very expensive. It's way more expensive than just renting a car at your local rental place and then getting from point A to point B like that. But let's say you feel uncomfortable driving your own car. You're gonna have to take into account that, well, then you may have to rent a car. And I prefer to rent a car just because I don't have that worry of, messing up my own car or something happening to my own car. And it's just kind of like giving yourself a treat as well. For example, when I went to go rent a car for my trip, my spring break trip, it was about $300 more to rent it at the airport if I went in the plane than it was to just rent it here. And it's just crazy, So I don't have to worry about purchasing plane tickets and the car plus the gas. I just have to worry about the car rental, which is way less expensive because I'm not getting it at an airport, and then just gas. So you just have to think about that. And guys, the best feeling is to just be on that road, jamming to some music with your partner or your friends and your family, and you're just enjoying the ride on the way there. It leaves more room for adventure. That's why I prefer to just be in car from point A to point B, but it could be different for you. So I'm just setting out the pros and cons, and then you can just decide from there. Obviously, there may be places that you have to take a plane to and then rent a car there. It just depends on what kind of trip you're doing and what you can do financially. But if it's a city or a place that you can definitely drive to, I highly recommend just going in car from point A to point B. So that is it for this video. It's been long enough. I'm gonna put a part 2 to this video. Now, I talked about choosing a destination, your budget, and choosing your mode of transportation in this video. In the next video, I'm gonna be talking about how to choose the places that you want to see when you're already at your destination. So how to pinpoint the things that you want to do, the places that you want to see, the places that you want to eat at. I'm also going to be telling you how to choose your place to stay and how your budget determines that. And I'm also going to be giving you guys some tips on things that you should have and do before you go on your road trip and on your road trip. So the part 2 is essential. You have to go watch it because then this first one is really not going to be helpful. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. For now, go watch part 2 to this video. Let me know in the comments down below how you travel and if you've ever gone on a road trip. Also, stay tuned because I may be vlogging on my trip, but I will definitely be on Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter throughout my trip. So if you want to just follow me there, it's going to be in the description down below and in the end card of this video. So make sure to follow me so that you can follow me on my trip and see how I apply the tips that I'm telling you in this video in real life. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.